Hey guys, I'm gonna be playing all of these games, with today's game being Super Mario Kart. This is another game I grew up with, but unlike Super Mario World, this is not a game I return to very often. Let's take a look at what it was like and where I'm gonna rank it. So we boot up the game, and this game actually has title screen music. So far in this journey, if there's a game with title screen music, that's already giving them bonus points. But it loses a lot of points for that background. What am I looking at? It had to be intentional because there's like tic-tac-toes on the floor and like scribbles on the wall, really looking like a little kid's room, so I might have to give it a pass for that. And the Super Mario Kart at the top, you know, it gets the job done. I'm not too much of a big fan, but that menu that appears when you hit start is so cheap. Kind of like this game was rushed, but honestly I don't know. And then already something I forgot, which is you only have 50cc and 100cc in this game. I'm so used to just going straight into like 150cc and then unlocking mirror mode, but this game is a little different. Now get a look at that character select screen. Now this is a menu, and also the character roster is really amazing. It's hard to believe that they're only a few games into the series and they already have so many iconic characters to choose from. You got your classic picks, but also we got some weird ones like Donkey Kong Jr. I'm more just surprised that they didn't have regular old Donkey Kong yet. Alright, we're gonna hit Mario. It's also nice that they do a little spin when you pick them. Starting with the first race, you get that little song before the race starts. They did such a good job making sure this felt like a racing game. Every time I hear this, I'm like, oh wait, what's happening? I'm ready to race. And then Lakitu being the guy who handles the lights and the flag, that's just pure genius. 10 out of 10 use of your characters. So for this first cup, I decided to do 50cc in order to just show off how it looks. And my god, is it slow. To be fair, it is this slow in every other Mario Kart. But the next thing I notice is how bad this game is to control. Now I hope this doesn't get anyone upset, but yeah, I don't like the controls for this game. Except when I play as Koopa. That guy controls like butter. I have no idea what is up with that. Something else I remembered after playing this game is the one that introduces coins. And I'm not a big fan, only because in this game, whenever you get bumped a little by another racer, you lose your coins. And then if you're out of coins and they bump into you again, then you spin out. It's such an odd mechanic. I guess it's just to, make the game a little more difficult, I guess. And oh yeah, the item boxes are literally painted on the floor. Such a humble beginning. Something that really irks me. When you pick up a box, it just turns red and never respawns. Like maybe they were afraid that we would continuously grab the same item over and over again, fishing for, I don't know, the lightning. But really it just annoys me, especially when I drive like in the same pattern every time and then just happen to drive over the exact spots that don't have an item. This game's got a few quirks. Now let me talk about something I find kind of interesting. Depending on the character that you play, the game will determine how the rest of the NPCs will place, unless you break the order for some reason. So like here in this case, you have Donkey Kong being like the main nemesis, which I kind of like, because it kind of gives me like a weird story of like, oh, if this character's doing the best, then this character will try their best to stop that character. So in Mario's case, of course, it's Donkey Kong, not Bowser, original enemy and all. So yeah, this first track isn't much to write home about. It's just, your basic track. Very, very good for getting used to the controls, especially after finding out how difficult it is to control. And then I found out that there's 5 laps to a race. God, I don't know what's up with these games. I think like F-Zero as well. So I feel like they try to make the race last a long time to make it feel like it's a proper race. But in doing so, it kind of created this situation where I get to lap 3 or 4 and I'm like, yeah, I've had enough. I'm tired of this track. And then we finish the race. And then you get a load of this song. And something that took me completely by surprise, which I do remember this when I was younger. Every single character in this game has their own song for when they get to the point screen. Now that's detail I absolutely love. Honestly, I think more Mario Kart games should have this. I think more games in general should have this. It just gives your racers so much more personality to them. And it's also a nice touch that all the racers on the bottom of the screen are ordered in the way that they finished the race. But hey, wait a minute, is that background just the green background from the title screen but in blue? Don't think I didn't notice that. But really, this game has a lot of personality with what little they do have. Alright, the second race time. So I feel like with these dirt tracks, the karts handle a little bit worse. So like muscle memory I started developing later on in the game didn't work on these tracks, and it was a little frustrating. But again, this is kind of a track just to teach you how to work the car in the dirt road. There's also a kind of nice shortcut here. So even going this far back, mushroom shortcuts are definitely in the game. And then we take first place again. So going back how this game has so much personality. When you get a first place, the camera spins around and shows them, and then they just give you like a little cheer. Again, it's like the little things. But But, you know, let me talk about the elephant in the room. The map on the bottom of the screen. This is one of those weird Super Nintendo games where, like, they cut the screen in half, and the whole game is like this. There's no option to turn it off. At least the bottom of the screen is used for a map, and while I do think it's not the best to have half a screen be how you play the game, I really like the bottom screen. This map is very entertaining. I don't know what it was, but when I was younger, I used to just stare at this map for a long time just looking at people race, and it was fun. But getting into the weeds of it all, I just want to also talk about how the sprites on the bottom of the map are obviously just the same sprites that show up when you're racing, but because it shows like a stationary camera of the map, you get to see the characters in a full rotation, and every angle has like a different sprite that just shows even more personality of these characters. They really went above and beyond. So like Mario and Luigi don't have much, they just kind of look up and down a little bit, but like Peach, at specific angles she starts to shut one eye and then closes it at a different sprite, which gives this impression that she, you know, is winking at you. Sometimes when she's going back and forth between the wink, it kind of just looks like her eyes twitching. I think it's kind of funny. And like Bowser, in certain angles, will open his mouth wide open and then have it closed, giving this feeling that he's roaring. Yoshi, of course, sticks his tongue out. Donkey Kong kind of gives like a big old gorilla wail. Toad yelps. But they did my boy Koopa dirty. Look, I get he might be a little slow, but did you have to give him like this cross-eyed looking face? Guy looks like he doesn't know what's going on. They strapped him onto a cart and said race. So yeah, tangent over. Our third race is a boo level. Nothing too tricky here. Well, I guess in a way they try to make it a little tricky with like these walls that fall down whenever you touch them. I guess that's a little tricky. And also there's some parts of the level where you use a feather, which is an item in this game that lets you jump. It's a strange item. It has some applications, but you know, yeah. It lets you take this shortcut if you know, jump over the hole. And I feel another tangent coming. So we have bananas. They work as you probably expect. We got turtle shells. They also work as you expect, except if you shoot it backwards, they just stay in place instead of being shot. Interesting choice. We got the coin. Absolutely worst item. Never had a good time whenever I got this thing. The mushroom, which, I don't know, sometimes hurt more than it helped, because this game is just so unruly when you're going at high speeds. And we got the red shell. This thing failed me a lot, especially when the goddamn CPUs can jump over items in this game. Sometimes you throw a red shell and then they jump over it. It's like, what was the point? It just felt super unfair. And also the red shell like dies to any inconvenience. Wall in the way, water in the way, hole in the way, lava in the way. It doesn't survive in this world. And the star, you know, came in handy quite a bit, especially if you try to manage how fast you're going. Go fast when you can, you know, slow down when you're making sharp turns. Don't fall off the map, because as soon as you fall off, you lose the star immediately. But the lightning, though, this lightning is probably the best it's ever been. Hits every enemy, and they stay down for like 10 seconds, 15, I don't know, it's a real long time. And then even if you touch them, they get squished. There's like 1 or 2 races I actually only won because of this item, and fittingly, it barely shows up. And I should also talk about the items that the NPCs have. Because yeah, in this game, every character has their own item, and they could just use it whenever they feel like it. It's a lot of fun. So Mario and Luigi have the star. They just get temporary invincibility. Peach and Toad get the poison mushroom, which is a unique item, because if you touch it, you shrink. But that also means if they're your rival for the race, then they'll be constantly throwing this very dangerous item at you. And Yoshi gets to throw an egg, and that kind of just works like a normal item. There's no funny gimmicks with this one. Bowser gets the fireball. It kind of just works like every other item, but this one moves a little bit. Donkey Kong throws a banana. Really nothing noteworthy there. And Koopa gets a green shell. But the ones he throws are stationary, so it almost loses all the appeal of throwing a turtle shell. But again, what makes it really annoying is they'll just constantly be throwing the stuff at you non-stop. Most races will just have you thinking like, leave me alone. And it just feels super unfair. Alright, now that we got that super tangent out of the way, back to the boo level. So these boo levels, you can just fall off and it just takes a lot of time. Most of the time if you fall off, you're gonna take so long to get back on that you're probably gonna be in 4th or 5th place, or 7th or 8th. So yeah, boo levels are very dangerous for that. We go on to the next race, and it's Bowser's Castle. Now, something I forgot to bring up for the boo level and also Bowser's level is that they just reuse music from Super Mario World. Now, don't get me wrong, these songs fit in their game. Racing music, not so much though, at least in my opinion. Would have definitely preferred some original tracks for these songs, but I mean, you know, it works. So Bowser's Castle is interesting because it has these boost pads. You touch this thing and it's like you got a mushroom. It's really nice if you can hit it, again, because the controls are so difficult to work with sometimes, it's easy to miss. Oh yeah, and something else in this level is the thwomps. They make a return for this game, and they're honestly pretty good hazards to deal with. I always respect the fact that on the first lap they don't come down at all, and then from laps 2 to 5 they start coming down, and they just act like a serious hard roadblock whenever you crash into them. Otherwise though, if they stomp on you, you get smushed. But working around them is definitely like a mechanic I have fun dealing with. Last track is another Mario circuit, and this track is pretty cool because it has this figure 8 thing going on, but the 8 is severely disformed. But what I mean is there's a point in the map where you drive through another point where you ramp over it in order to continue the race. Again, it's very interesting for the time. But yeah, these 50cc races are not very notable. The AI is very easy to deal with. It honestly gave me a false sense of security that this game was going to be pretty easy. Spoiler alert, it's not going to be easy at all. We finished this 5th race completing the Grand Prix, and then we get this nice congratulations screen with Mario cheering with alcohol in his hand. He doesn't drink though, don't worry. And again, showing more personality of these characters. Each character has their own winning animation and also their own animation when they're on the sides. So for Mario, he's so excited, he's just, letting this drink spill. Coming back to this main menu, I hit the 100cc. And you know what, I'll just play the next character in the list, which is Peach. And we're moving on to the Flower Cup. This first race is already completely different. It's Choco Land from Super Mario World. Like, again, very creative. I like these ideas that they took places from Super Mario World and turned them into a racetrack. Definitely gives it a different vibe than the rest of the races. This map has like that off-road mechanic, so sometimes it's difficult to deal with. And also there's like puddles everywhere. They're not too difficult to deal with. Now here we can listen to Peach's theme. They really didn't do a good job with this one. It just feels way too whiny. Also, while I'm at it, I'll talk about her rivals when you play as her. So it seems like Bowser is her main rival that tries to take first place, which, is understandable. But the next character trying to take her place after Bowser is Toad. Kind of like a usurping thing going on. What a goat. Then we got a Boo level, which is very similar to the other one. I'm not going to spend much more time here. The race after that, though, is another dirt road level, but this level has the little Monty moles on it. And if they touch you, they'll grab onto you and you have to shake them off. Such a fun idea. The level after that is a Bowser level, and this level has a lot going on, and I mean it like in a good way. So many sharp turns, so many thwomps to deal with, and even this point that just kind of splits off into 2 roads connects and then has another point that you split off into 2 roads with like varying degrees of what's in it. Some have a boost pad, some have coins, some have an item box. I find this level to be one of my more favorite levels in the game. And then we ended off with another Mario circuit. This one just has some sharp turns. And is that an oil spill? On my racetrack? That's pretty dangerous. We take another flawless victory, and here is Peach's victory animation. She's doing a real good job flipping that bottle, especially how high she's throwing it. Whoa. And then move over to the Star Cup with Bowser. Now it's about time I talk about, the characters' weight classes. So Mario had like all around average stats. Peach, she had really good acceleration. Bowser, highest top speed, lowest acceleration, and my god does that really factor in later on. But I do have fun playing as them though. Even though he's also hard to play as, I feel like the difficulty in driving his vehicle makes sense. He's a big old guy. Unlike Mario where I'm like, I wish he controlled a little better. And the race that we're on is Koopa Beach. A wonderful song, I love it. With the water everywhere. Like literally everywhere you drive. It slows you down a little. But because there's no walls and there isn't much cornering, it's a pretty easy race. I always love this random item block in the middle of nowhere. Alright, now let's get a listen to that Bowser track. And I'm gonna say this track is my favorite. It just makes me feel like I demolished the competition. Very Bowser-like. Also, Bowser's rivals are gonna be Mario and Luigi. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. That's really all it comes down to. We got another Choco Latte track. Nothing too notable. Just a big old pile of mud there. At least I hope that's mud. The race after chocolate is the Vanilla Lake track, and it's kind of like a substitute for snow level, I guess. It looks really, really nice, but also the bright white colors is just really harsh to look at sometimes. It also comes with one of the most baffling design decisions for a racetrack. There's these blocks that just disappear after you touch them, and they're like purposely placed in the middle of the road. It just forces everyone to kind of crash into them unless you've got pinpoint driving. So this is where Bowser really struggles a bit. That lack of acceleration means as soon as you hit one of those blocks, you're gonna slow the heck down. It gets so bad, this is where I take my first loss. So yeah, in this game, if you take 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th, you get a loss. Getting a loss means that you lose a life, which is definitely one of the most outdated ideas this game has for a racing game. But yeah, we have lives. And even though I don't sound too excited about it, it does come in handy when you're trying to get first place in every race, because that loss doesn't factor into your point total. Only if you win it will take it into account. So you can kind of try to farm a first place if you have the lives for it. Outdated, but it's fun and it's necessary sometimes. So yeah, I give a Vanilla Lake another try. And then I get my first place. But say hello to the track that whooped my ass. You know, on paper it seems unassuming enough. You still have to deal with the most dangerous thing in this game. Tight cornering. And let me just say, if you mess up a corner, especially when you're playing Bowser, it is so difficult to catch up. Mushrooms barely help you out too, because all it does is push you into a corner even faster. Star can be helpful. This is where, you know, maintaining your speed is a good idea. This level really beat me down. This is where I get my first game over. If you get a game over, you have to restart from the beginning. Much more arcadey in that way. So then I make it back to the Bowser level again. It's time for a Bowser redemption. I lose and then I lose again, but then we get this one race where I actually take first place for a second in the final lap. And I'm running with it, and then I end up crashing into a thwomp. All of that hard-earned work to lose all that speed. Then Mario takes first, and it's just tragic. I try again. And on this last life, I get another solid attempt. It's the final lap. I take second place from Luigi, and I have a mushroom. So I'm like, if I get another crash, I can speed back up again. So I take another boost pad, and I hit the wall by accident with it, and I'm like, no, I'll keep going. I still got a mushroom for the straightaway. And then I used the mushroom and hit another thwomp at the last section. Mario was already kind of far away anyway, but I had hope. And here's where I kind of want to talk about an annoying thing that kept happening to me in this game. Sometimes when you're trying to turn at high speeds, you still slide in one direction. And if the back of your cart hits a wall while you're trying to turn away from the wall, you lose so much speed. And this happened a lot, especially on boost pads and mushrooms. I can't take another second place on 100cc, so I try again. But hey, I'm seeing a lot more progress now. I make my way through all the levels again, and I'm gonna give it another shot. I lose the first life, but this second life though, it's looking really good. I get to the final lap in third place. I make my way over to pass Luigi, and all I gotta do is pass Mario now. But then my last item for this lap is just coins. I get the boost pad, I dodge that thwomp, and I take first place. Oh man, that's a load off my shoulders. And also keep in mind, this is just 100cc. Spoiler alert, once I get to 150cc, I stop trying to take first place in every race. The next race is just another Mario circuit. Again, nothing too crazy, but at least we're driving on solid ground this time. And I take first place pretty easily in this race. And here's Bowser's victory animation, with him just kind of, you know, giving a big old wahaha. Yeah, look at him being so happy. Then it's here, I realize I don't have the special cup yet, so I head back to Mushroom Cup with 100cc. With this time playing as my boy Koopa. Alright, so it's another gush time for my boy Koopa. His driving just feels immaculate. You can corner on a dime, it's easy to maneuver around obstacles in the track, except for that Yoshi egg. And I also found in this game it's very hard to reach max speed with your character, but playing as someone like Koopa, you can constantly continue to accelerate to get to top speed and still have some decent control over your car, which gave me an insane lead on this race. Let's listen to Koopa's song. This is pretty good. This is definitely a second best. And oh yeah, we gotta talk about his rivals. And I think it's hilarious. So his two rivals just happen to be the green wearing duo, Luigi and Yoshi. It's like a battle of the greens for some reason. I think that's genius. Koopa out here fighting to be worthy of the green. This next race is where I realized that Koopa doesn't drive so well on dirt roads. I beat the next few races without any trouble, and I ended up winning first place for the Grand Prix. Koopa's got such a nice rhythm with those bottles, and hopefully they don't break. And finally, we unlocked the special cup. For this Grand Prix, I'm gonna go to Luigi since he's next in line. Being the most difficult cup and all, I guess we just have to start with a dirt race. And look at this race. Why the heck is there pieces of the bridge missing? So yeah, you gotta jump over it in order to get across, and if you don't, you end up in the water. And in this game, oof, if you end up in the water, you're gonna have to drive yourself out of it, no Lakitu. Although, I think it does fish you out if you take long enough in there. This is the point in my journey where I decided I'm not gonna get first place in every cup anymore, but let alone first place, I can't even get to the top 4 in this race. There's just something about how Luigi's cart works on dirt road that just is so difficult to handle. I end up losing all my lives and getting game over on the first race. So yeah, I'm gonna have to restart. And even on my next try, I still end up losing 1 life. But I do take first place. And now we can take a listen to Luigi's music at long last. I think it's good. It definitely feels like a different take on Mario's song. A little Luigi-fied song. I like it. As for his rivals though, he's up against Yoshi and then Mario. I like to think this one is like Yoshi is Mario's new best friend, and Yoshi and Luigi are fighting over it. God, it's just so silly. Then we got a Koopa Beach race. And this race feels, I don't know, like they kind of gave up on course design. You're kind of just driving around a Z Tetris shape. Yeah, so many of these races are just go in a circle, I guess. And for this race, I end up losing all my lives until I get to 0. And then I finally take a first place. It's dangerous waters coming up ahead. So the race after that is a Boo level. This race seems like it would be difficult, but honestly, I found it to be pretty easy. It might be because driving on this type of road is easier to deal with, but still, falling off the racetrack means that you're going to lose a lot of places, and I do fall off, so I do get a game over. I make my way back to the Boo level. I get first place in the first 2 races, and then I get a first place in the Boo race. So let's take a look at that second to last race of this game. Once again, it's another race in a circle, but this time you're racing around a lake. Again, this doesn't really feel like a racetrack. It just feels like we're driving in the middle of nowhere. There's even a lot of ice blocks in the way in this one, and a lot of like snow. I don't know, this race barely feels designed for racing. But this next race though, it's the final race full of colors. Rainbow Road. And they really went all out with this race, with it having its own song, which I love, it having its own track style, and even thwomps that have the star power. This is definitely one of my top tracks in this game. And it's not even off-road terrain, so it's pretty easy to drive on. One complaint though is the colors are a little bit too vibrant. It is Rainbow Road, so I do have to give it a pass on that one. And of course, like the Boo levels, if you fall off, you have to get picked up by Lakitu, and it takes 12 years, so good luck. On 100cc, I didn't have too much trouble, just lost 1 life, and holy moly, Luigi's victory pose is amazing. He's got some serious skills with those hands. And wow, credits. This is a pretty nice credit screen. I do like the song that plays, and I feel like I'm a sucker for credit music. And at the very end, that is a wonderful thank you message with all the characters cheering. Again, despite everything with this game, it just oozes personality and charm. And really, I think they did a good job with this game. And normally when I hit credits, this is where I would, stop my journey and start recording for the video. But here, I know that 150cc is unlocked, and really I can't leave this game alone until I beat that too. So come along to the 150cc. The character I'm going to be using for this is Yoshi. Similar to Peach, high acceleration, and feels a little hard to control. So difficult, in fact, I couldn't even make it to the top 4. And I get a game over. 150cc is really not playing around. Guess I'm just going to have to get better. Giving it another go, I make it to 2nd place. And you know what? I'll take those. So now we hear that Yoshi music. And yeah, it's definitely up there. Really appreciate the Yoshi noise at the end of it. Let's do some rival talk. Yoshi's rivals are Koopa and Donkey Kong. Koopa, I guess, just has a vendetta against Yoshi for all the crimes he's committed to his people during Super Mario World. And Donkey Kong is more like a, I don't know, Godzilla versus King Kong kind of thing. Back to the races. I make it to the 2nd track, I end up getting a game over one more time from the top. First track, I get 2nd place. 2nd track, I get 1st place. Now time for that 3rd race. And here I was tailing a Peach from behind, and she shoots a poison mushroom at me. This is where I feel the full force of what that poison mushroom can do, and it costs me a life. Luckily, the next try, I do get 1st place, with the help of the feather. Like, I get it's a bad item, but man, when it comes in handy, it comes in handy. Whew, 4th race, let's do this. And really, for this race, there's enough boost pads that I was just able to keep 1st place for most of this race. So with that race out of the way, I got 2 lives and 1 final track ahead of me. On this race, I actually pulled a star, like, when I was not too far away from the lead. Even though I was in 5th place, I would think I'm not too far from the lead. I keep that star in the hopes that I would have a good opportunity to take 1st. I use that star, and then I make my way all the way to 2nd on the final lap, and try all that I might, but I cannot pass Koopa at the end. Luckily, I know that I had enough points going into this that I could just take 2nd place and still get 1st in the Grand Prix. But that was close, 39 to 36, so cutting it real close. Yoshi's victory animation is kinda underwhelming, I think. I mean, good on him being able to flip a bottle that high and catch it still, but I don't know. I would expect something more Yoshi-like, maybe? Flower 150cc, here I come, with Donkey Kong Jr. as my character. And then I think I found out that heavyweight characters have an easy time on off-road tracks, because man, Donkey Kong felt the best in this race, and that is not a pattern for the rest of the races. So I snag a very easy 1st place. Donkey music time. And this is definitely up there, probably top 3 for sure. As for his rivals, it's Toad and then Bowser. As for Toad, I don't know why he's there. I think it's because every character has a chance to be top 1 rival, but so it feels more like a fill slot, unless you guys got any reason why he's up there. 2nd one is Bowser, which, big giants fighting it out, makes sense. On this Boo level though, I had the classic, I'm in 1st for the whole race, and then I hit 1 item, and now I'm in 5th, and I can't catch up. And really a lot of that has to do with Donkey Kong's slow acceleration. I try again and I take second. Heck yeah. Unfortunately, I do take a second place on that third race as well. But in this race, honestly, I'm surprised I even made it to second place. I had a lot of fumbles here. So now I gotta take 2 first place in the coming races in order to get this. 2 lives left, Bowser's Castle, one of my favorite tracks. We got this. So there I am racing. I fall pretty far behind and I'm like, oh god, can I even catch up? And then I get the feather. And this track has a jump shortcut, and it's a pretty good one too. I'm so excited. I'm gonna get this shortcut. I'm gonna do a great job. Jump, 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 jump. And then I didn't have enough speed to make it the jump, and I fall into the lava. And it's just so painful watching Lakitu pick you up and put you at the beginning of the shortcut. Look man, the track is over there. It's so close. Just drop me there. I give up. Surprisingly, I do take first place by using a star at the end of the race when it's neck and neck, and I do snag that victory. Whew, final race, 1 life left. Come on. So the attempt doesn't go too well. I get bumped a lot, lose a lot of speed multiple times, end up in the dirt a few times. And yeah, after all that, I get to like 4th or 5th place. Then I bump into a Koopa shell. Yeah, an utter defeat. 0 lives left. I have to do this. I try and I cannot even break the top 4 in this race, let alone first. I take another utter defeat, and this one hurts a lot because I was so close to winning that Grand Prix. Not to mention all the time I spent trying to get this far, but this is what the journey is about. I'm gonna have to restart, and I'm gonna get first this time. This next attempt, I do get first place. On the second one though, I do end up losing like 2 lives, and then I get first place at least. On the third one though, I end up losing another life. Now I'm down to 0 lives, but you know, I'll play it out. I do take 3rd place. You know, I'm just gonna take what I can get. I have 0 lives. That puts me tied with Toad. Ooh, Bowser's Castle, a level that beat me multiple times, and 0 lives to boot. This race was such a neck and neck with me and Toad, just passing one another. I get that final item, and it's a banana. Can I make this work? Can I do this? Luckily, I drive very well and I managed to take first place. No banana needed. Also, a mechanic I didn't talk about is when you take first place in 3 races, you do get a 1-up, which, you know, in this case put me from 0 to 1 life on the final track. And in this final track, I do gotta get first place again. So for this first life, I have trouble keeping up with Toad. I'm in 2nd place, but I need first. Start driving a little reckless. I use a mushroom at the wrong time. I hit a wall. I end up at 5th. I hit the give up button and I try again. Last life once again. Really, I'm not feeling too good again. You know, it's the last race with the last life. I gotta get first. It's all stacked against me. And I'm playing Donkey Kong. I start racing. I'm still not doing too hot. It's lap 2, lap 3, still not doing hot. Lap 4, I'm still not catching up. I even end up bumping into a Luigi who used a star last moment and it hits me. That was just unreactable. But wait, look at that item I got. I still have a chance. I wait for the final lap to use it, and then bam. This clip is going to show you why this item is the god tier item in this game. That lightning bolt carried me. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm gonna take this win. Now we get Donkey Kong juggling bottles. I mean, I think this juggling. It's a little hard to tell. Now we do the Star Cup on 150cc using Toad. And he drives just like Koopa, so all the praise I gave Koopa goes to Toad as well. And then I easily take the first place on this Koopa map. Thank you, Toad. Now let's listen to that song. I think it's pretty good. I think this song fits Peach better than Toad. Moving on to his rivals. His first rival is Peach, which, I mean, you know, that just makes sense. Peach is really trying to put him down to his place. And his second rival is Donkey Kong. Again, this game just has a weird fascination between Toad versus Donkey Kong. I don't get it. Alright, so the next track, I get another first place. Thank you, Toad. With this third race, something funny happened. Normally CPUs, especially your rivals, jump over any item and jump over red shells, but for some odd reason, Peach during this race decided to keep hitting her own mushrooms. So on the final lap, she hit a mushroom and ended up getting all the way back to like 7th place and made her way back to 6th. It was very amusing. That was like the first time I've ever seen like a top rival actually be knocked down that far back. And now the points are all skewed in my favor. In this fourth race, I end up going neck and neck against Peach, and she does take first place from me. So close to getting a flawless victory for this Grand Prix. Wow, I made it all the way to the final race without losing a life. And it's 150cc. Even in the final lap, I didn't even get near her. I guess she was mad about the other races. Yeah, I get second place and take the Grand Prix victory. All in one go. That's awesome. Toad victory time. He gets a weird one, where it just sprouts a vine from the bottle. Toad, I think someone tried to poison you. Really, it's more of a prank, I guess. You open the bottle up and vines spit up into your face. Moving on to the final cup on 150cc. Now here I was like, who am I gonna pick? Obviously there's just one choice, my boy Koopa, with the hopes that this cup is gonna be just as easy as Toad's. And I'm just gonna save y'all some time. It was not easy. I spent like an hour on this, from trying this first track, losing over and over again, to getting past this first track but losing at other races, and then getting back to this first track. Really, it came down to this first track. It was brutal. There were so many attempts and I couldn't even break top 4 a lot of the time. I will say though, one of my earliest attempts, I did make it all the way to Rainbow Road, but I ended up getting there with only 0 lives, and I fell down in the middle of that race. There was no catching up. Over 6 attempts and many lost lives later, I'm at the Rainbow Road and I'm racing. And I do a pretty good job. I maintained first for most of it. There's a point where Yoshi does pass me for a second and throws an egg. Then on the final lap, as I was making like the final turn, ooh, I was so scared. There's an egg in the path where I was making a turn, so close to hitting it and knowing if I hit it, I'm gonna lose first place. But I managed to drive around it and I make it to first. And now I feel like I earned those credits. The end. Overall, I thought this game was pretty good, but it does have a lot of weird choices. From like CPUs having infinite items, to item boxes being one use on the floor, the 5-lap structure, the overall jankiness of driving, and also kind of the lack of tracks, and the lack of soundtracks too. Again, the songs they do have though are pretty good in this game, the new ones at least. And hey, this game even has a battle mode, so that's awesome, but I didn't get to play it for this playthrough. I even heard there was a boo item, ooh. But yeah, overall I think it's a thrilling game. You know, if you like racing. The items feel like they work most of the time. It takes some serious skill in order to beat these CPUs. What really brings this game up a lot of points though is the charm it has. Sprites the characters have, the animations that they have, and even the songs whenever you complete a level. So it was an enjoyable time at the end of the day. Frustrating, but enjoyable. Alright, so time to rank it. I'm gonna put it right here, just above Super Mario Bros, but below Super Mario Bros 3. And yeah, that's my list. These games so far, put in the comments below where you would rank it. Now that I'm this far in, I'm sure there's many different possibilities for this list. Alright, now I'm gonna show the retro achievements. Take a gander at these. Alright, thank you for the stay, Super Mario Kart, but I must be heading off. My next destination is gonna be Super Mario Land 2. And as always, if you like the video, you know, subscribe. And above all, thank you for watching. I will see all of you in the next video. Bye bye.